So welcome to another exploration into consciousness with the Earth Noble Hub. And our today's topic is dialogue with our future selves, Human 2.0. Now, there is so much transformation going on. There's so much change going on, so much expansion, so much destruction, and all of that. And I've got an umbrella question that pretty much summarizes everything before we then go into detailed questions, where we're working with our future selves. And the umbrella question would be, it's like, how has, with all the transformation that is going on, how has our spiritual inner journey impacted on our outer journey? And when we say outer journey, we're talking about our families, we're talking about our careers, we're talking about our bodies, politics, economies, education, and the whole array of possibilities. Oh, Alfredo is coming on. Now, when we say we are having a dialogue with our future self, we're not predicting great mystery or, the unexplainable at this stage, because that would be, I would say, arrogant at this stage. We don't really know exactly how everything is going to pan out. But what I would like to do today, or what we would like to do today, is actually, exercise our co-creative capacities and our hindsight to come up with some insights. What our future selves gonna be able to communicate with us, and let's say over the next 30 years. So we can choose, like, say, okay, future self, next 10 years, the next 20 years, the next 30 years. What do you know that I haven't acknowledged yet? And I'm finding this quite a good practice exercise. It's a good practice because every time we sort of dissociate, and Elizabeth, here she is. Oh, it's not Jay. Jay is not Elizabeth. Sorry, Jay. There's Elizabeth. Great. Hi, Elizabeth. So we're going for foresight and insights. And of course, we're going to apply it to, what is dear to our hearts, what is dear to our lives, and what we can perceive, what sort of mentality shifts can we think of, what sort of conceptions, different ideas, different concepts, different inspirations, different layouts, different passions, anything like that. And the idea is, what we're going to do is we're just going to throw up some questions, and the one who asks the question is probably not the one who's going to sort of come up with an insight or foresight. It will be somebody else just picks it up and say, okay, let me speak to that. And a good way of looking at that is, it's almost like it's the future self. It's your future self. So there's a slight dissociation. It's like you're talking to something outside of yourself. You can use that as an exercise, as a practice. Think about it, when you have a problem and you share it with a friend, you discuss it with a friend, sometimes you have your own insights, right? So sometimes that dissociation, and it's not about different personalities or anything like that, it's just, having a dialogue with ourselves. Hi, Karen. Okay, great. Good stuff. Are we all clear on that? Yeah? Okay. So as we are awakening to our divinity, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions are not gonna disappear. And we've talked about this many times. They're still there in the quantum field, but we're gonna have a different way of perception, a different way of perceiving them. And that, the more we go out of this astral sort of polarity, emotional turmoil, the more we can actually start perceiving on a much more, let's say, mentally discriminative way what's going on in our lives. And that also brings up our co-creation with it. So instead of repeating myself now, I think we can just get started with the first question. Or is there anything you guys want to say to that before we get started? Anyone got an issue with future self? Are we all happy with the idea of future selves, where we're just projecting a version of ourselves into the future, and we're now co-creating with that version in the future? We're co-creating in the now. So we're not disappearing into the future. We're not getting out of our bodies. We're staying right here. We're just co-creating with that future version of ourselves. And also, when I say co-creating, we are asking them questions. What does the future version of ourselves know that we have not acknowledged yet? And it works the same way, of course, with our past versions, you know, with our, you know, we have so many different imprints from the different memories and the different experiences, but we're going to go and work with the future selves today. So does anyone want to throw up a question for any of us? And if not, then I will. Like I started then. Okay. Anyone can grab it. And if a second one wants to grab it, by all means do. So I'm just going to ask our future selves here, how will our relationships change, let's say, in 10 years' time? So we got 10, 20, and 30 years to choose from, yeah? So what are our relationships? And you can choose whatever relationship you want to address here. How are our relationships going to change in 10 years' time, if you're asking your future self?
Well, I don't know, for me, Martina, I don't know if it's becoming free already programming myself, but I really looking forward to be able to manifest who I am, my magnificence, more present with me in the now. Looking forward in 10 years that I'll be able to judge, plug in my higher self and my magnificence, and walk through this process or life experience. That's my goal right now.
So you're talking about your relationship with yourself, with the higher self, the higher and the lower mind. You're saying that within 10 years time. So when you have a chat with your future self right now, so what is your future self telling you about you having integrated your higher self, your higher mind with your lower? What does that look like for you in 10 years time? Because if that is your intention now, in 10 years time, we can much assume that there is something going on.
To have it completely integrated without to be calling or set up or sit down to be able to experience. I want to be integrated on my, what I see like a walking side by side with my magnificence.
Now, can you give us an example what that looks like? So let's say your future self is sitting here and you're fully integrated, walking side by side. Tell us what that would look like.
I could see like myself like in front of that, like a screen. I'm projecting, let's see what I'm going to do tomorrow. It's like an auto projection to see what is the outcome and what's the more valuable movement in that moment. It's like a consultation before doing anything.
It's like
it's like there's like a 3-4 different paths, and I can able to see which one is the correct one in the moment, or moment now.
So having a full awareness, full conscious awareness of the infinite possibilities, at least of a couple of those parallel choices. And then based on that, you're making your choice today. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you. Do you want to add anything to that? Or shall we move on to the next one?
Can I jump in here now?
Of course you can. Yeah.
Following through from what Harmenia was saying. But first of all, I want to say hi to all the new people that joined our chat. That would be Jay and Elizabeth, and hello, Karen. I heard you last week. So welcome to our show. But anyway, coming back now to, I was listening to someone do a channel a few days ago she was channeling someone from the future, which was exactly 10 years from now. Our future 10 years from now. So the gentleman that she was channeling is currently alive in our present day. He's like 72 years old. He's a historian. And the future, he's like 82, right? And so he was being asked questions about the future, the next 10 years, our future. And the things that he was saying, when I finished listening to the show, I was like, no, I don't want that future, because that future to me was so disastrous that I didn't even want to live in it. I didn't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it, because it was not a pleasant future that we were going into. And I realized in that moment that that was his perspective. That was his timeline that he chose. And I have a right in this moment how I can change that. I can change that timeline and choose a different timeline, because there are so many different timelines existing in this present moment that we can choose from, and we can choose whatever path we want to take and how the outcome would turn out for us. And so I found that quite interesting, that I got that realization in the moment, so I can make that change and say, no, that is not the future I want. That is not the timeline I want to be on. That's the timeline that he's from. That's the timeline that she was channeling him from. And he was telling that if you follow that path, that timeline, this is where you're going to end up. So us here in Art Nouveau Hub, we want to choose a timeline that is very much more pleasant than that future 10 years from now. So that's as much as I can say right now about that.
Thanks, Lana. Thanks very much for mentioning that. And that was part of why I said in the beginning, we are not making predictions for the entirety of humanity here, right? We are not predicting great mystery, because we actually can't. And that can be misleading for people. And that's not what this is all about. We are really just working our foresight for our personal choices and co-creation with universal wisdom, with the source. And then, you know, the disclaimer, which I haven't officially said, is, of course, you know, this is not even our truth. This is just an insight that is coming, you know, and an acknowledgement of our practice. So, which can then inspire others to look towards that.
Right.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Because there's so many different timelines, and this we have so many different worlds, different bubbles of reality and everything. We want to inspire people and inspire ourselves here to just become a bit more creative with our imagination, with our intuition, and actually having more of those future dialogues with ourselves, you know, because that is part of how we are creating. Absolutely. Thanks, Lana. Thanks for that. Okay.
So we want to choose a timeline that is more conducive with good, with peace, with harmony, with the synchronicity, so that our future self does not suffer. the next 100 years, the next 1,000 years, or our generations in front of us, you know, would have a more pleasant time.
Yeah.
It's like, and I like what Herminia said, because, you know, she said she looks at her future self. She now, in 10 years time, she says she has an opportunity to look at the different, whatever choices she makes, she can see the outcome of where it's going to go. So she's very much saying that even in 10 years time, she will keep on choosing, just much more consciously, because every choice creates a different path that we are going. And that doesn't mean that once we've chosen this one path, that this is the way, which this, you can't see it, but it says the way. There is not just one way, because as soon as you make another choice, there's another way that's opening up. So at the end of the day, we're really stepping into that era of choosing, era of free will choices. Fabulous.
Yeah.
So shall we do, who else wants to grab that question? What changes are you seeing for your future self in 10 years time with regards to relationships? Right, Karen, yeah, we're just talking. Just come in, speak, yeah.
Yeah, like, I suppose you all, like, I have all these call into the unknown and the mysteries and the mysticism thanks to my dad, because I grew up with, I mean, from the 70s, tons and tons of piles of the Bermuda Triangle, the aliens, and just the mysteries, no? And instead of, well, I read storytelling, but also that. And I was also part of the going back into the past and going back into the present, the future. And I always wish like this opening, you know, portals in which we can go into one space to the other. So first of all, the relationships, I think, and we know now that as our threads will be awakening, we will have more and more capacities of this telepathy, as we know, because they will be incorporated. And they have already been, no? They're like simple thoughts of your mama saying, I thought of you and now you're calling me, etc., etc. So definitely the relationships would be maybe less on the internet, because the internet is just simply a copy of what we have cosmically speaking. So it's going to be more of that, and probably less speech and more intuition, you know, less thought in our mind, and just this capacity of the call, you know, in our body. How does this message feels in ourselves before actioning, and not rushing either, you know? I don't want to rush into things, and I am Speedy Gonzalez, you know, in many senses because of my vibration, but just this sense of recalibration and centeredness a lot more. And we will see this everywhere, because there will be more rush, energetically saying, into we have to achieve something, and it is no, it's just from the simplicity. So I really wish that we can all be able to be visit by this future self more often, let's say, and have a laugh, like as we have incorporated our inner child, that I always say, please, no inner, external, not so inner. Yes, from inner to the external, not to forget that, no, because we are these adults in the end, that we are wounded if we want to be wounded. But why do we have to be wounded? We just are all the time blessed, in the sense like we needed to transition that. So maybe more of that, and the capacity to see myself in all the other time spaces, and yeah, to connect, no? This is my wish the whole time. And I suppose when you see your past pictures of yourselves, just earlier I happened to see a video, and I thought it was a stranger, and it was me dancing at the beach. I was like, I didn't know it was me, and it was just 2 years ago, you know. So wow, it's amazing. So I think relationships are gonna change in that sense, and more community, as we know, no? But from the individual to the community, and the community to the individual, into we really, really feel like everything belongs to everybody, no? Like really, like if you are in a community, somebody's really guarding somebody else's child, somebody else's elder, by feeling part of it, not like just for me, for me, for me. And yes, it's enough because I'm doing my individual work. This is spirituality new in the time. Like I need to be in me. But how longer are you gonna be, hermano, hermana? I mean, you have to go outside. You have to go outside and provide service. Otherwise, this is not really, yes, it's helping energetically a little bit, but not into the mayorness that we can all be collecting the fruits together and we can go far beyond. So I think more the relationships are coming into that sense. And yeah, less stress in that sense, like we open the speech, thanks to social media. Nobody is afraid maybe of saying it, maybe something in front of a camera, let's say less and less, but less information, less knowledge, and maybe more wisdom to really be these wise elders. I think this is the point. Into the communities I really govern by their own selves. So I really see that if there is that future in 10 times, I will be in this avatar, fantastic. And if it's not, also fantastic, because I know I will be somewhere else, and still in that vortex of the never-ending story. And but anyway, blessings. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And that's what Tanya actually said in the chat as well. She said less duality, more community. So which basically means, I've just said to the girls and to the guys, Alfredo, I was just saying that 20th of February 2020 was our first show. So we're going 4 years. So in 10 years, we're going to be still a community and a much bigger community going on, in 10 years time, I'm sure, because this is, I can see that too, that we're going more into a community. The other thing I want to say is Karen is from Peru and Elizabeth is my friend that I've met on my Peruvian journey. So she's, thanks for joining us. Fantastic. So yeah, good. Okay. Fabulous. I mean, that's what when I chat to my future self about relationships, for me, it's what I'm really seeing. I'm seeing a huge difference in the male-female relationship. It's almost like there are no marriages anymore the old way. In 10 years' time, my future self says there's no such thing as getting married. There will still be people getting married, but it not in the first 2 years or something. They might get married just for sentimental reasons, like they still want to celebrate birthdays. Even that's not going to be the way anymore, because of the gender neutrality that's really coming in. And it's more like people are no longer getting married because they need to complete each other, but because they just create together, they create more. And they just love being in each other's, company. And there's no need for marriage, So that old sort of, you belong to me, I belong to you, and we're never, ever gonna, be with anyone else again. That's completely out the window in 10 years' time, at least where I'm gonna live in my bubble of reality.
Martina, I think you're talking about love without a string attached. That I have to be with you and you have to be with me. It's your collaboration and growing and journey. And then when the time passes, that is done without being like pulling anybody one another. Just from the appreciation and gratitude of collaboration.
Yeah, I'm seeing a complete redefinition of love. Love is going to be acknowledged as, as the fabric of existence, but not as something that, I need to couple up with somebody, because love is a communal thing. It becomes, the understanding is that everything is love, and I don't have to marry my dog because I love my dog, or my cat. I don't have to marry a guy to, rein him in and that kind of thing. So everything's going to be much more open from that perspective, and people are going to be together because they want to be together. So the value system for what do you call that, intimate relationship is going to be different when I talk to my future selves.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying, Ina. Yes, Herminia, go ahead.
Oh, it's fine. I just want to say, like, understanding that we are in a path, in a journey together for a certain time. That doesn't mean that we have to be commitment forever. It's just for the growth, the path of the growth together.
Yeah.
That's not like attachment.
Cheers.
Friends
Cheers.
with benefits, Lana said.
Yes.
No, it's like, it's choice. You're choosing to be with somebody until you're no longer choosing it. And it's much more, we're going to be much more free to really exercise our free will. We're going to, in 10 years' time, we have a completely different understanding of free will.
It doesn't have to be the social conditioning scene that we have now in this moment.
Yes, and shall I say that, well, here, I've been living here in Spain since 2005. So I got also the heritage from the Celtic heritage that we have in this northern part. So we have this renewal of vows, you know, every year, for example, taking it from the Celtic ancestry. I think, Martina, you live in the UK and all that. And it's so beautiful, you know, any type of relationship to be checked every year. Because who said that because of, well, our heritage is like forever and ever, you know? And shall it be like that? And earlier I was talking to a friend, like, not even marriages have to last forever. It's like this beautiful path of your life. And until there is resonance, because we shift so drastically, even just in an awakening call, if you want to call it, or more conscious about where you are leading your life. And maybe you are not considering friends or, you know, partners going through this to the same destiny, if there is one, or purpose, you know. So definitely that. And also somebody was in a talk sharing about love, and it was very interesting because they were saying love was also a program, in the sense of, I was like, oh my God, love the program. No, everything is just love and it should be summarized to that. But actually for love, there have been great murders, you know, like also lower vibration has come like towards love, what it is sense, or the distortion of what love, you know, is. So it was very interesting, like maybe it is better to switch it more in understanding, no, co-creation, comprehension, no, maybe more into that. So it was a very interesting, like, you know, awareness for me to get into that, because I was all like, now it's time for the unconditional love, no? But if it's there, maybe unconditional love or not, I don't know. But yeah, so we have a great shift. And also, if you think about it, ladies, like 10-15 years ago, like just the circle of ladies, you know, being in haze, but we were creating separation at the same time. A lot of separation, becoming with the energies of the moon, if you believe like it is taking or not, and if it's good energies or not, it doesn't matter. The thing is, like, we also forgot that solarness souls that we are from the sun. And me coming from even Peru, like, even it was installed the energies of the moon, but actually it was just the sun by itself. In any case, that was bringing just ladies into this reunion that is okay, obviously, because there are things that, you know, we have a different understanding among ladies and men, if we want just to call no gender at the same time, but female and male energies. But when I still hear, like, it is the time of the awakening of the women, you know, the awakening, we were never asleep, I think. And if you think about the past, women took over, let's say, as Amazonas and like greatest, like, come on, the energy women have for eons of time, more than men, a lot more, you know. And in that sense, I think there's no more separation at all, because we have twisted that, and that will be also vain and vanished. Like, no more into the sense, like, what is female energy and what is male energy, you know? So females don't have to become male to just empower their male energy. And also men don't have to, or let's say male energy doesn't have to take just that female side, you know? Not at all, it's the balance, no? So when we have these submissive beings, no, ladies into, it's like looking up to the masculinity, and then men also from the external, no, and the physical, let's say. And it's not that, it's like ladies in their own power, men into their sensitivity as well, and together co-creating and also going away, for coming back together and also going away, you know, for their own for their own communities, no, benefits. So I think it's more of that, and thanks God, I think it's coming more and more, because now we see more circle of no gender, or men and, you know, and women together, and not like here, not like just here, no. We have Alfredo always, and so many other men that I've also seen and listened in the previous calls. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Karen. And I think, yeah, I would agree with that. We've made huge strides, you know, and even, yes, we have women here, but I know I know you women here, you know, some of them I know in person, and I can honestly say there is a much better gender neutrality in all of us now, because we've been working in our male and our female distortions and conditioning for so long, you know. Mm-hmm. I think what you're saying is, you know, we often talk about the heart, and this is part, that gender neutrality that we're going for, that balance between male and female. Forget about how it is expressed now through the body. Mm-hmm. That male-female balance that we're looking for is very much like getting the solar plexus into the heart, and that's the journey. For me, what I'm seeing is the next 10 years. In 10 years' time, we will have, most of us will have achieved that clearing out of the astral body, of the solar plexus, of this turmoil of good, bad, right, wrong, all of that polarization within all of our emotions, and that will allow the solar plexus to move into the heart. And that's really the work for the next 10 years, because this is also which is played out at the moment, with all the destruction on the one hand, and then with all the expansion on the other hand. So that duality, like Tanya said, less duality, that integrating the solar plexus into the heart, so that then the heart can communicate and, you know, integrate with the mind, cooperate with the mind, discriminate, going into the next level of initiation into the discriminative mind, you know, working with the heart, that will allow us to get there. And I think 10 years, that's what I'm seeing here, is, you know, a good span of time where because a lot of us have already done a lot of work on that, but now, you know, the collective is still struggling a lot. And the more expansion we have on this planet, the more destruction is holding that balance. So lots of us have done this individual journey from source into separation. Now we got to get away from, oh, we have to work on ourselves. We have to start acknowledging that now we're working the collective. Now we got to come back into service. Having sorted ourselves out to a certain extent, now we can come back as sort of healed healers and really get back into the peacekeepers, into the peacemakers, and help clear out that collective by holding the light, holding that neutrality.
Yeah. You know, it's like I can see from my point of view that how much we are really aligning with what we are manifesting, because I was watching one of Matthias Stefan I think 2 days ago, and he was talking about falling in love, and he's explained the function about the pancreas and how the pancreas had to process more sugar and then send the message to the heart. That's the way how the little part I understood. How they send the message to the heart that had to pump faster, and then that's why we get the activation in the heart. We sing "My Heart Is Falling in Love," but it's not really the heart. It's like the pancreas requiring more sugar because we have been motivated. Our system have been motivated to activate a whole new level because we want to express that feeling that we have with somebody. And he said, in the end, he said something, a joke, like when we said, I fall in love, he said, my pancreas is in love really, because the pancreas is the one that makes the function and reactivate the heart to pumping faster, because it needs more sugar. It's processed faster for the organism that we are in the physical one to function, and then it's demanding more sugar. Because and then he said something like you said, Martina, that we get together. It's not like the attachment. It's like we get together because we have something to grow together, something that co-create together, a collaboration to bring something together. But when that purpose is finished, then we have to move on, because if we're still doing like you don't motivate me anymore, because there's no the purpose is already finished. Something like that I was explaining, but it was kind of very interesting for me, because for some reason sometimes I look at how people get attachment and like of fighting when they have to separate. And for me it was like, why we not concentrated in the good thing that we did together and the good thing that we co-create, instead to be in the no, you have to be here, something like that. For me were kind of interesting. I'm going to go back to listen that he's explained, because I would like to make note, because I was driving at the time when I was listening that. And it's kind of interesting, match with what you were telling about it.
Well, it's also, if you look, we were just talking about intimate relationships, but in 10 years time we have redefined friendships, just like you said. There won't be any blame, shame, or guilt when you just, or friendships will be, you might only be talking to people once or twice a year, or not and the gossip's gonna die out. There's not gonna be friendship now is a lot based on gossip, right? But friendship, especially when it comes to it will be much more co-creative, and it will be a need to meet basis, need to talk basis. But people won't be pissed off because oh you're not a good friend because you haven't called me for a year. Well, no, there was nothing to talk about.
Yes.
Because, I just knew that we didn't have to talk at that particular time.
Yes.
And I think somebody said, Lana was saying that, Karen, I can't remember now who said it, or even, Herminia. It's like the telepathy. You, Karen, were saying it. Less words, more knowingness, more picking up. It's a new level for me. When I look at my in 10 years time, my future self is saying is you will hardly be talking, because everything is going to be almost like telepathic, and there are different ways of communication in 10 years time. I'm also getting that there will be different ways of communing with each other. It's not just the words or the languages, because also in 10 years time, I will be talking here and we will have AI that is simultaneously translating whatever we are saying in 10, 20 different languages. So that attachment to, am I expressing myself beautifully, this or that, is going to be so different. Because the majority of people, not the majority of people, you know what I mean, just people will be able to telepathically pick up what you're saying, and there's going to be a level of transparency. So if you say one thing and mean another thing, is not going to happen. People will start seeing.
So Martina, are you saying that in the future, in the next 10 years, our show would only be an hour long and not 2 hours? Because we'll be talking less.
I think we'll just it can be even longer. We'll just come on and say nothing, and then have subtitles. AI will pick up whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Go.
No, Lana, maybe she wants to go ahead, perhaps.
No, I was just making a joke with Martina, because Martina, she loves to talk. So she's saying in 10 years she won't be talking that much.
I know it's gonna be tough for me.
Our show will be an hour long.
Third time a character
we shall meet with que les presentó.
Oh.
Ahora,
I just wanted to say that. No, that Martina and I probably would have our own time together because I'm the chatty one, talkative one. Like everybody knows me for that since I was little. My mother says that when I was born, I say, "Why are we here for? What is my purpose? Why am I coming?" Just when I left my mother's belly, I came chatting and asking the doctors. she says that. So I'm just like that, and I just wanted to appreciate also words because I just happen to have these, Martina. Yay! They arrived before I walk my paths, and it was a surprise because they were delayed until the 24th. So, and I just wanted to share them now. So I'll be happy to share.
Thank
Yay!
you very much. I hope you enjoyed.
But, yes, surely.
I want to say on a serious note, though, from joking with Martina there. You were saying that we would be talking perhaps less in the future because we wouldn't be having so much to say to each other. I feel like I'm already at that point where I'm doing that. Like if I have nothing to say to somebody, I don't really pick up the phone and call like a relative or something like that because I really don't have anything to share, anything to say. And it's getting more and more like that. Not that I don't want to talk with them, not that I don't want to see how they're doing, but it's like if I call you, I don't really have anything to tell you. I'm feeling like I'm having fewer and fewer words I want to say to someone. And so, yeah, what you're saying, you know, we are already in that phase, working towards that point.
Thank you, Lana, for that, because what I also wanted to point out before the sharing and the joke, it was that in my case, for example, I belong to a sacred economy community, so where we do share quite a lot, for example, but that's enough for me. You know what I mean? And then I am also very in me, much more in me, and I really call the silence the whole time. And it's like there's like I cannot expose to myself too many more words, let's say. And for example, I don't share much with my relatives or friends. I don't. I because exactly as you say, I don't have anything else to say, but not because I don't have it in my source. It's simply, you know what? No. So if I need to say something, I shall say it. And I think there are new ways of communication for that, no, into just how an image will express it the most, no. So I think maybe if we still will be gathering, maybe there will be just more songs or music or even more movement of dance or simply nothing, only being still, no, and into the understanding that we will have more the capacity to speak to other beings, no, as last week we're talking about animals and nature and all that. And also our relationships, we're talking about the fact of our friends. My family, for example, my parents know, and immigration helped me a lot. Instead of like at the beginning, you know, being close and sharing maybe what I was going through weekly, monthly, but then little by little until I anchor myself, I didn't find this call and they understood it. So we have frozen many times in which they see me still like in the past, but I've changed so much at that time that when I tell them, but you're not my parents, they're like, what are you saying? You're my daughter, you're mine, no? And I say, no, because you're playing the role of my parents and I'm playing my role, you know, the role of daughter, and I appreciate that, and that's it. So also this understanding and being Latina, that's a bit tough, you know, like there are certain cultures in which you have to share absolutely everything. I was married to Greek Argentinian Greek, I cannot say it in English, Greco-Italo-Argentino, so Italian, Greek, and Argentinian. It was the three cultures, and everything had to be shared and said, you know, all together. Yeah. And now I am living with a French for the last 10 years, which is the total opposite. And I really thank that. I thank that space, that personal space that you can have also. And I think it's a combination in which we really understand the sacredness of being mothers, just a channel, a vessel for free will and choice of bringing that child, and that child choosing you. But that's it. And really seeing spirit to spirit, like when somebody was talking about animals, like seeing spirit to spirit, I think it was Carolina. So also seeing that my child shouldn't be treated as silly sometimes. You know, I've been a teacher. I taught languages for many years, little ones, adults. So why do we have to really change our voices when we are talking to little ones? You don't know if they are really evolved spirits, you know, in that sense. And to walk together into the respect that those are just in this, how can I say, structure, not structure, package, you know, of avatar in mini, but it's an evolve. So I think we are more, I think in 10 years time, and even now, we are appreciating who we have in the front is just that wise soul, and should be also into the respected one that we can actually appreciate more than what it is externally by the society being imposed that code should be. And also this brings death, because it's not only life, it's also death that doesn't exist, let's say. So to appreciate that this is just an existence, but life by itself is eternal. So also this ritual for the funeral and all that, you know, into the sense of not getting into the low vibration and all that. My parents are already nuts, because I remind them all the time, this is the time, this I say goodbye, and maybe like saying goodbye, this is it. Maybe tomorrow I'm not here. So let's also incorporate in that sense, but with joy, with beauty. My mother, don't talk about this. And I say, but Mama, it's part of it. And remember, if I pass away, flowers, sunflowers, nothing like really sad, just joy, love, no funeral, please. If there are ashes, yes, but do not spend money, you know? Like many codes that have been installed. And for example, my parents have already quit, because they know that if there is a birthday, probably I'm not gonna call. If there is somebody's dead, I'm not gonna say I'm sorry. You know why? You know, in that sense. So I think we are shifting all these codes, and that doesn't mean that I appreciate.
Yeah.
What does she say?
Marissa says, "Oh, whoa! I like what I'm walking into here." Marissa, Marissa,
Right.
our Peruvian chick is on a roll here.
Sorry, but this is it. This is it. And yes, I'm talking about Peruvian culture. Is also what I have. We laugh so much. I mean, like when people say Peru, they associate the Andes, and the Andes have a lot of sorrow. The songs are, some Slovenian soul, they sing folk dance, folk songs. And she wanted me to teach her. And I say, all the songs are sad. For me, low vibration into the, and a lot of female and male. There's a lot of chauvinism in that. And still the tribus are a lot chauvinism. And with the animals, I don't even want to talk. That's why I'm aligned more with the Mayans in that sense, in which there is equilibrium in female-male energies. But the good thing is that we don't need any psychologists. Because if you feel sad, the ones that are Latinos, you tell to the street vendor and you have a laugh. Everybody will listen and they will ask you. So that is a way also of expression, you know, just to wrap it up. Even serious things. I don't watch TV, but my partner, because of work, does. And he has to watch news on top of that for work. So everything is war. Everything is that, French TV. And the Frenchies were laughing, crying. Never see the news of them laughing and crying. And I'm like, what is going on? And they say, because they're talking about drug dealers in some shanty towns that were caught by the police officers, dressed as the Marvel superheroes. So they were in a Spider-Man and Catwoman, and they were the Thor. That is the blast. That is that level. And for the 14th, that when we saw each other last week, remember, St. Valentine's, they were dressed as a teddy bear to catch a drug dealer, a lady, you know, with everything, I love you so much. And that's the point, because in the end, we have to laugh at the same time. But that doesn't mean not to do anything and not to pay attention, you know? So we also have to be responsible of that. But it's just this contrast in the end, you know, because we are still expressing bad, but dancing. You know, my partner always says, when you turn on Latino news, they are dancing. Because yes, we dance a lot, we sing a lot, no? And I just wanted to share that. Sorry for the craziness. I have my moon in Aquarius. My sun is Scorpio, my ascendant is Leo. So, whoa, a combination.
But you know, Carol, that we can, like you said, we can just switch and instantly, because I went to my uncle on Monday evening. When I got there, he's the one that follow all the news that is about politicians and all that drama. And I just put like instrumental music about Hallelujah. I mean, the house changed completely. He turned off everything. He went to take a shower and was getting ready to go to bed, when he usually spend like over 2 hours doing that. You know, it was, and I didn't say anything. I just put the music, and it completely switched. And I always, when my mother mentioned something, I will remember, but we are here just temporary. Anything that we are here, we're going to take it, you know, to bring her, remind her that, because I don't want to be in the drama or suffering and remember everything bad. It's not like, I know that she's not aware what I'm aware of, but I'm trying to bring her, like you said, to your mother and your parents. You know, I said, well, I remember her. We are just in a journey here that is going to end, and we just have to continue. I always mention that to her constantly, with everybody that I'm around right now. On myself, I'm putting that on myself. Remember that it's just a physical body that I'm using now, but that's not me. And I'm incorporating that in my beingness to be more aware, so to remember myself that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we have very busy future selves here coming up with all sorts of ideas, right? So let's move on, because we spent quite a bit of time just on that one question. So what other questions have you guys prepared to ask to someone's future self? Anyone? One question, throw it out, and then we have somebody pick it up.
Oh, nobody have questions. Well, no question. You know, I have one of my burning questions is how I can use light language to transmute or transform. How my future self going to use life language to completely transform and transmute anything in my daily life, my daily journeys, and I see myself like a universal ambassadors, looking for peace, joy, unity, love, joy, unity, and peace. Then I look in the way how I can integrate my understanding of translation of light language to be able to manifest that in my journey as a universal traveler.
I love that, because that's really what we were saying early on, that we're not going to use that many words. That doesn't mean that we're not going to open our mouths. There's other ways of communication, and light language will be one of them. And you probably be using it for communication, as you say, as a universal traveler, but also people will use it as for healing. And people will use it to co-create with other species, you know, maybe not in 10 years' time, or maybe, you know, we were just saying 10 years, but maybe think of this exercise as if you are a channeler, just like what Lana was saying. This lady was channeling this person in 10 years' time. So you don't just channel for us. And we know we don't have to, you know, think of it from that perspective. So if nobody has another question, we did relationship, right? So let's just look in 20 years' time. Let's channel your future self in 20 years' time. And we're going to ask the question, what have I got here? Oh, what does your body look like in 20 years' time? And this is not a good question. Not what does it look like, because we're all going to go, well, I'm going to be 20 years older and I'm going to be wrinkly and this. No, what is your body? How different is your body going to? No, that's also, you know what I mean? You're going to be eating something different that you don't eat now. Are you going to be dancing more? You know, what is your body going to be like in 20 years time when you talking to your future self now? It might be younger. Mine's definitely fucking younger, less wrinkles. Mine's in good shape. It's moving, it's dancing. It has the capacity of movement, but also there's something very significant about my body in 20 years time. And that is that I have this total awareness when to be completely still and when I have to be in movement for some reason.
I'm picking up on this because I didn't pick up on the relationship, and because I mean, for me, the frequency is love. I still have to get into the concept of the frequency of love. I'm newbie, but I just had today another of these thoughts about body and body awareness, nutrition. You know, actually, what we would be, what our, okay, let's call it our frequency or light bodies need is light, right? To function. What this physicality needs is something else. It can be reduced to utter nutritious food, right? But then I believe that this wonderful biological experience that we are having also brings us to the cravings of actually, you know, you have to have sometimes chocolate ice cream, or you have to have sometimes maracuja mousse, or, you know, you have to have it sometimes because you need it, or dulce de leite, or something like that, or Christmas pudding. But and this is where I think the mystery then again comes in. So our bodies in 20 years time, very interesting, because I do believe that we will be, as you said, we will be probably much more aware of what is actually the functionalities of our body. We will not be in this like, for instance, nowadays they are saying that if you do only 60 minutes of cardio or something light, light exercise, that's already sufficient over the week. Although, I mean, just look at all the other physical education, what they are talking about is at least 60 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes a day. But in total, it should only be 60 minutes. So, and then you come, and then this wonderful, I'm calling it a discrepancy, or between, you know, the biological and the light and our inner or outer, whatever you want to call it, the light body. That is just fascinating for me. You know, where will we actually be in 20 years time? You know, how will we be? I'm fully aware of what you said. I also believe, because I'm now much more physically, although I have my aches, I'm much more physically fit than I was ever in my life. So that's interesting. And I do believe that I will continue this, you know, moving forward. And I also, when I look at my grandparents, I mean, my grandma always said, though she was 94 when she passed away, she had no wrinkles, you know, in her face, because those were just lifelines, you know. So how can you talk about wrinkles? She was a Virgo. No, but I mean, we will look at all these things in a different way. And yes, I do also believe that we will, some of us, and I do believe a lot of those amongst ourselves here that have done the work, I don't want to go into the comparison, but look at our faces and, you know, our wrinkles of those of people maybe the same age that are not following our path or have done some work. I'm always shocked when people tell me, you know, they have the same age as I do, and then I look at them and I'm like, okay, I don't, you know, I think I still look young. I mean, it's not about playing the comparison game, but it's about, you know, this realization of, you know, there is something moving along, doing something right, maybe, you know.
So thank you, Sandrine. So what I want every one of us to do now, I want you to look at yourself and you are 20 years older, and give me 3 things that are different Not just what it looks like, yeah?
Yeah.
Could be anything.
Uh,
Give me 3 things that stand out for you as you look at yourself in 20 years' time.
Well, I'll see myself like with gratitude for the time, for the experience of my physical body. And I see letting go whatever I couldn't accomplish, and looking forward for the opportunity, grow, transcend. I would say gratitude, appreciation, and transcending.
Okay, thank you. Next, 3 things, and stick to 3 things so we all get in. 3 things. It could be anything. So I'm gonna throw mine in, okay? So in 20 years' time, I have a capacity, because we talked about exercise. I will no longer exercise the way we exercise now. I will get my exercise by being able to shape shift into an athlete, shape shift in without within the sovereignty rules, shape shift into an animal. I'll get the energy of the animal and I can apply it to me without having to exercise. That's one thing. The second thing is I'm no longer be bothered about what I eat. I'll eat stuff's going to be healthier anyway, but it's going to be completely different what I'm going to eat 20 years time. But I have absolutely no thoughts what I have now. Should I eat this or should I have no? I will have completely transcended that food fucking frenzy shit that can I eat this. I'll be completely in tune with what my body requires at that moment. And at this moment when I look, it doesn't really need a lot. I'm just saying that. And Tanya came in. She's going to be more balanced, aligned, and connected to source and earth. And also in 20 years' time, let me add my third one. I'll be communicating with other species with total ease, joy, and working with other species. That will be my main work at the time. And of course, with you guys. Okay, who's next? Who's next? I just want to throw that in because we need to expand out, guys. Talk to your future self now.
I've got the same like you, Martina, because it's been a while that I'm working with the sun. And well, lately it's been a bit cloudy, but the main source is the sun for the recharge of the day. Indeed, when I've tried it, no need to eat indeed, or even drink because you have enough. Mm-hmm. So therefore I already feel, let's say that moment, stronger and more active. And that is bringing enough of all the awareness that you just pointed out, no, into the interconnection with the species, human, not human, all the realms. Yeah, more or less summarize all the 3.
I want to actually add to that from a humanity perspective. There will be a different way. And I did hear Geoffrey Hopper talk the other day, the Crimson Circle. He just mentioned that the energy sources will completely change. And as soon as he said that, it's like, get it. It's because if we are the sparks of light, and we communicate, then if we are aligned and connect to source, then we don't need to put a bloody bulb in between. We become the energy. We create the energy when we require it. We can pass it on. We become the energy transmitters, creators, downloaders, receivers, and all of that. And in 20 years' time, I'm already seeing myself being part of that for some reason. Okay, thank you, Karen. Who's next?
Well, I'll go if nobody wants to say, but
Yes.
what I'm seeing as a future self, I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm joyful, um, uh, younger looking, like what you guys been saying, because the whole environment will be different. That will allow for a healthier way of existing on the planet, and so that would be in line with our being, selves, and existence having that appearance and feeling it, not just having it, but feeling it as well. And I also would like to realize that all the work that I've been putting in over the years for myself is more realized, that my spiritual understanding, my spiritual growth, that my light is shining brighter, and that more of my natural abilities have kicked in, and I'm using those abilities. And by doing that, the planet is becoming a brighter planet, shining its light brighter, a more welcoming planet to live on. And that's and one of the other things that it's what you said, Martina. You don't have to pay attention to what you eat, because everything you eat would be part of our reality of goodness, so you don't have to say, well, this is not good for me or that is not good for me. Everything in creation is good, right? So every vegetable, every fruit, all things are good. So there is nothing to like say, oh, okay, this is not good for me and that's not good for me. I have to watch my weight. I have to watch this. I have to watch that. Our weight will just be who we are meant to be, and we would be comfortable with that, and that's some of the things that I would like my future self to be realizing in 20 years from now or 10 years from now. Why wait 20? Maybe 10 is good, or 5 is good.
Yeah, but absolutely, put it forward for you, absolutely. Go with whatever comes up. And again, we were talking about choices, you wake up tomorrow, you say, hey, I want this next week. That's it. Sorting it
Right.
But the whole point of doing an exercise like that is bringing it into our awareness, right?
Right.
Sandrine,
I mean,
yeah.
I always said that my goal in life is to retire.
Okay.
So I actually was now wondering on the retirement, the retirement from the this physical cultural framework that I'm working in, wandering in, having to deal with all day. Is it that, or and because now when you were throwing it forward into these 20 years, I'm like, my retirement in that sense would probably be that I dissolve myself into beingness, in dissolving with, that would be my goal. It's like I always have this fascination, and it is more of a symbol that I'm using when I'm talking about her, Mother Teresa. The expression of loving something that is maybe unlovable, and going the way to go forward with this love. And the retirement for me would probably be to dissolving into the beingness and the loving kindness, if I can say so, and have that emanate from me. Or I am going to dissolve into that. And it's like with you, with the shape-shifting and with the species, I would just be the loving energy with, keeping it somehow together.
Okay, so I'm gonna not let you get away with this. I need you to tell us what that looks like.
Well, that is no problem, and I probably will. It will look, and again, I'm using here cultural references. It will probably be like Odo from Deep Space Nine. You know, this being that can shapeshift, that is a liquid being and can become a frame, and then can lose its frame again. You know, because he retires into a bucket to regenerate. So, yeah, why not?
Are you still going to be living on Earth?
Well, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But
She'll live in a bucket.
In the
Huh?
wider sense. What do you
Right.
mean, Lana?
I said you live in a bucket, like Odo.
No, I didn't say I live there. I said I regenerate in it. I didn't say I live
you
there.
will.
It lives-
She asked where would you be living, I think, and I said you'd
No,
be
I
living
said
in a bucket.
yes,
just
but I
joking.
meant it in a way that I would retire, because she was talking
Yeah.
about, you know, what would be my shape, or would I still have a shape
Yeah.
or not? So
But the
because he
question,
actually lives on a different planet that is just one liquid
Yeah.
mass, you see. So
your question was, you want to retire, but whenever that question comes up to me, I ask myself, what are you retiring from? You know?
well,
What
I
are
know
you
what I'm
retiring
retiring from is from the cultural framework that I'm currently still, you know, functioning in.
Mhm. Yeah, but if you think about it, you're really not retiring unless you pass away or something like that, right? Altogether. You're still in the existence and you're still active and doing things, unless you gave up in life, you know, and not doing anything. You just sit on the couch all day watching television. But we're not retiring really. But you're probably thinking from your job and stuff like that, and I get that, right?
No, I would be retiring from the whole. I mean, or maybe I can use the Indian reference of, you know, going into the nirvana, in a sense, but still being conscious that I can come in and out of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
she's
Yeah.
talking about celestial medium
Mhm.
journey, pretty much. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Now, again, use your genius, foresights, and be specific. Channel your 20-year older one version of yourself, and tell me what kind of healing methods are there that are not here yet. How is healing gonna change?
I was just gonna mention that my father just happened to be diagnosed with first stage of the C word. I don't even want to say it. So I was just letting him know, not just, you know, like talk to yourselves and recalibrate. I mean, like, do not buy any diagnose. There are always any infinite possibilities, and also in the acceptance of what it is into your spirit walking this path for the lesson, etc., etc. But I think we'll get into the point into, even in India, it is possible, for example, and that was first stage, we're going to talk about 20 years from now, but even right now, you have like the common traditional hospitals in front of the Ayurveda, for example. And depending on what you have, you go into Ayurveda and you are even sent to the hospital. Maybe even, I don't want to say that the hospitals will maybe be vanished, because I don't know if we can really operate in bones. Maybe yes, we will, you know, something super mechanical or whatever. But even if now they say, like, unless you have an injury in the bone or whatever, then you go to the hospital. But if it's a matter of recalibration and healing, we will all have, or we already have that capacity, you know, in that sense. So I think in the understanding that there are no more dependence on anything, and even in herbs, because when we can also create a dependency on natural healing, you know, all the time being obsessed, no? Like from one of your calls, anything that it comes into an obsession, even if it's natural, then in the end, you're empowering that in more into the understanding and letting go. So I think these recalibrations in healing, even maybe the word heal will disappear, you know, more like recalibrate, no? Just recalibrate yourself, no? Like into your own balance. I still have my issues with the word heal, because heal means that you are sick in that sense, you know, to heal, you heal something because you are sick. but maybe just recalibrate ourselves the whole time. So I think we all have the capacity, and maybe just by touching nature, by just being merging in nature, and who knows, maybe if Native Americans also, we are into the Mama Tierra down, spending a couple of days for a rite of passage, why not for recalibration, you know, our own selves and charging. I think more like that. And I just wanted to pick up what Sandrine was saying kindly about this retirement. I felt the call too many times. And then I heard somebody saying that we all souls, as we have new souls coming, we also have souls that are in the retirement state. So there is something feeling in you like you have come so many times that you're just in this retirement state that is not, you're doing your work and everything, but maybe the call is like more into the observation, no, already, because you feel maybe you're already into the exit time, maybe. I don't know. It's funny when you try to understand what time of your being you are, because that's a question, no? In 20 years, what is it, no? Or are we gonna be in the parallel earth that there is already out of this hologram or not? But yes, definitely healing or recalibration will be something natural, like dogs, you know, or animals. They worry that they don't need, and then immediately they even want to put them down, but you don't know that they're just cleansing. That's why they stop eating, you know. Give a chance, no, the body. So I think we're also gonna be ending in this longer period of no ingest or no nothing, because it will just be cleansing and cleansing and cleansing. And yeah, for the recharging.
For that portion, I envision the technology that we're going to have, a machine, instead to go to do like MRI to see what you have in the body, just looking what organ in the body need to be recalibrated, re-energized through life energy and frequency of energy combined with colors at the same time, and depending what area do you need, that will be concentrated where you're going to be receiving the pulse to hurt that part of your body to be reintegrated to the recover. And I have already have been thinking for many years, putting that in my head, instead to be looking for medicines that to put in your body to body process it. Why not go through a machine and just scan your body and looking for the spot that need to be reintegrated with the frequency and the level of the energy that we need in that moment? Where is the blockage that had to be released? Like you know, when you take like in a river or a brook or a little water stream, that you move the leaf and or the stone for the water to running freely. I look something like that it can be put it for us, for our body to be able to absorb it, because we are energy in different level in our body, just a movement of energy all time and frequency moving through the body. And I'm looking for something, a healing like that. Now instead to do the X-ray and then something like a black and white, is like putting in your body what your body needs in that moment. What is the blockage? What is the frequency is not penetrating to the body? So I'm looking for something like that. Healing with frequency and color instead of medicines.
I think I would see the same in 20 years time. We definitely have regeneration chambers where you just put yourself in and your organs and everything else gets regenerated. Not necessarily limbs.
I'm looking for that, really.
And in addition to that, I would also say that we will have lots and lots of more powerful souls that have come into this life, that are very young now, that will step it up in the healing journey and be, you know, like intuitive, what do you call these? Intuitives that can just scan your body and things like that. And in addition, in 20 years time, lots of us, you know, and this of course doesn't go for the entire humanity. There will still be people who will die of cancer, right? Even though there might be, you know, hardly any cancer anymore, because that's just what's happening at the moment, you know. There will be a vaccine, I'm sure. I think the Russians are already working on it and things like that. I also think that all these sort of what do you call it? Can't eat nuts. What's the word for that?
Allergies.
Allergy is going to be, healed pretty much, or, we've moved on. There will be something else. There'll be a virus probably coming in, another kind of thing, that sort of stuff. And I also think, there'll be just that beingness Sandrine was mentioning earlier, that you'll be with people, you just need to sit in the same room and you walk out and you feel that something has changed because of the frequency, the vibration and the harmony that Herminia has just mentioned, or the light language you've mentioned earlier on. These things are just going out in nature, that openness, or just being with your animals. And there's already healing taking place now, but now it's just a different level of healing where everything just happens alongside. Let me just read what Marissa is saying here. Alongside, with Herminia mentioned, also addressing mental, emotional, spiritual misalignments and realigning, all of that, yes. And also early on, her threes, shape-shifting alignment with food, smiling bigger and more, and embodying the Raya-like energy. And from the Raya, the last dragon, the Earth's version of Kumandra. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about that. I don't know what Kumandra is, the Earth's version of Kumandra. Okay.
Just on the healing, I also think it will go into, not like, again, in science fiction they have the sonic showers. Here will be like the resonance shower. You just stab into, or you just, every doorway will just have a resonance. You just walk through and you cleanse of the bad frequencies. Like a cymatics, just walking through it. And I recently read an article that was on prosthetics and bionic limbs. So they actually found out that the less you make them look like your limb, the less you make it look like. So it should really just look like a robotics, because then your body can actually function better with it than constantly trying to think, is that mine or is that not mine? So the body, when you have the robotic limb on, it's just saying, okay, this is a tool, I have to use it. So, and then it's going to use it, because when you're facing it with the plastic or the real looking hand, it's like, but that is not my hand, that is not, but this is not mine, because it doesn't identify with it. So it's actually better if it would be, the robotics, bionics, limbs, how they are, you see, instead of being, looking like they should be, or we expect them, or we have to. So this then brings back, the old thing on the pirate on the wooden leg, but it was just so funny. I also have a friend who actually lost her leg, so. And she's a colored person, and it was a funny discussion that they had, that the foot should actually be, a brown one and not a white one, because I mean that would be interesting. And we had a lot of fun discussions about that. So, but then she also says, actually I would prefer if I can only wear the blade, but people are not yet. It's actually the cultural framework around her that is not yet ready to see her walking around on the blade, so.
Yeah. And Sandrine, what you're saying is it also takes out the resistance, the wanting it to be something that it no longer is. And I think that, that being okay with what happened, I think that's a big thing, Alfredo, we keep losing you. Do you feel stable enough? Do you want to come in and say something on, you got a question, or you want to ask your future self 10, 20 years with regards to healing? Already looking very futuristic.
You don't have that filter yet.
Is
you don't have that filter yet.
We're not there yet. We can't hear you. We can't understand that. He's in the future, definitely.
He's in the future, right?
Come back to our level, Shinoki. We can't hear you.
No, you're breaking up, man. You're breaking up.
That's insectoid. Let's translate. Insectoid light language. wants to translate? Not happening. Not getting it yet.
Too broken up.
Definitely noise though. You want to do the slab.
That is so interesting. What is going on?
I know, I love it. I don't even want to mute him because it's really
Yeah.
definitely.
What if it's a message from our future selves all combined into one?
Alfredo is channeling big time here.
But I absolutely
Oh.
love that one. He brought in his insectoid species. Give us the answer. I'm loving it. Babes, we didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I mean, we heard you, but we didn't really get it. At least we haven't tried.
It was so beautiful, really.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Amazing. Amazing. Totally.
I wanted, I can help it with a song. Just, oh,
Not happening, Alfredo.
Alfredo.
You're too high frequency for us. We can't get can't tune in. Sorry.
I just wanted to say that I can help it because Machi means healer in Mapuche. That is from Chile. Machi means healer. And I just happen to have the Machi song.
Okay,
So,
well, why
can
don't
I
you?
share it?
Yes, why don't you
let's
do
share
that?
it. Very little. Machi, 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 Pachamama. Machi, 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 Pachamama, con tu agüita de tus manos, mis heridas ya curan. Ya no lloro, solo canto con tu canto, Pachamama. Ya no lloro y solo canto con tu canto, Pachamama. Lucerito de mi alma, con tu luz me vas alumbrando. Ya no lloro y solo canto con tu canto, Pachamama. Machi, 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 Pachamama. Machi cura, Machi sana, Machi cántame una nana, Machi cántame una nana.
Aho.
Oh, thank you.
Which means, Machi the healer, with your water in your hands, you heal my wounds. They already heal. I do not longer cry. And I am just healed by your chanting, by your song. Light of my life, you enlight my path. And I don't longer cry, and I only sing your song, your enchanting song, Pachamama, Madre Tierra. So healer, healer, Machi, Machi, you heal, curar, sanar, and please sing me a lullaby. So I think in this mayorness of our state, in the future selves, let's continue being our own mothers, our own daughters, our own healers that can sustain ourselves. We can just be whole or held by our own selves in protection. So I'll be sharing that with you in the chat as well. But so funny, I was saying, oh, the word healer, and then there is Machi the song. I was like, it's here. So I sang it. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's also a great invitation to just remember that we are working backwards, right? We are already healed. Everything has already happened. It's just in this reality, everything is taking a bit longer for us to acknowledge. So that acknowledgement is so, so important. And this is why sometimes those foresights are actually, are they really foresights, or are they just really remembrances of what we have already created, of what we have already done? And once we lift that veil, that core veil between the mind and the heart, between the heart and the gut, everything's going to be available to us. And we're going to get back into that oneness that we've always been. The individuation journey, that separation journey, was just a part of allowing us to have all those experiences. We were never disconnected from the source. We've always been healed. It's just really difficult to, even when you say it, it's like, oh, what are you talking about? You know, when your back is aching or this is aching, you know, but this is the thing. This is where we can no longer do those dual polarization, those, you know, judgments. Just say, yeah, there is pain. Okay. But what if we don't need to make it significant? What if we don't have to make it wrong? Now, we've still got a bit of time. So let's go back to dialogue with the future self. What do we know that we haven't acknowledged yet? Let's go 30 years. Let's go all the way, 30 years, 2034. What does the world look like in 2034? From your perspective right now, that might change tomorrow.
I see myself more awareness. Not sure if I'm going to be here, really. In any case, if I transcend, it was my transcending would be like completely integration to the who I am and what I am. What represent my magnificence in creation. It's not anymore to be in the journey of helping or growing or becoming. It just is. I am, without looking for any expression of the self. Just enjoy what I am in that moment.
Cool. Anyone else? 2054. Where are you? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna be? Lana.
Oh, I'm probably gonna be here, just looking around, enjoying the transformation of the whole earth, because I don't see fossil fuel as being the thing anymore. It might still be around to make certain things, certain items, but it will be more in the background. I see flying cars. I see most things working off of electricity. I see the earth transform into a more greener earth. I see people living in peace. I see traveling becomes easier and more free. I see that there'll be less restrictions on traveling, because by then we'll all realize we're all a part of Earth and borders don't really mean anything because we're all one family on Earth. I see those that we call alien will become commonplace in our reality. It will not be a shock to see a different species. Maybe some of them that are not looking more humanoid will probably take a longer time to come and visit Earth so that we can get used to integrating the different looks in different species so we can digest it, you know, slowly. I see just a nicer place that we're living in, a more conducive to our natural nature as a human being, as a spirit, you know, as the soul. And our understanding would be a much more incorporated with who we really are. And that's what I kind of see so far. And that's what I would like my future to be, you know. If that makes any sense to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Lana. Let me read Marissa. Increased food and energy, sovereignty, not paying to be alive. More people connected in the way of spirit, unseen forces. Thank you, Marissa. Who's next? Keep it short. Who's next? 2054. What do you see? Where do you see yourself? Go, Karen.
I see myself teleporting, so everywhere, and beaches, making more bridges, you know, in many spaces. Because I take the words that Lana said beautifully as mine, totally. So I don't have anything else to add except this, just teleporting, being bridges. Bridges, we need more bridges, souls, you know, like more in the interconnection. So yeah, more like that.
Beautiful. Alfredo.
Thank you for being in my future, Karen.
Together we are.
We need more people in the future.
Alfredo, let's see if Karen's song has healed your connection. Can we hear you? He's in and out today, isn't he? He's all over the place. Who wants to share 2054 with us? Sandrine.
Well, I did not want to go into the doomsday scenario, but that is one that it's a possibility.
Absolutely.
And because we cannot, you know, we can already, because of also the work that I'm doing, I'm also connected to a lot of data and to a lot of statistics and to a lot of studies that are being done. And in 2054, we will most probably be in a place that we will be hiding from the sun, although we really need the sun, but we will be hiding from it. We will live mostly on desalinated water. So we will have to see what we will actually do with all these salt bergs that we are creating, and not enough environmental capacity to actually reduce the brine. So I'm going to keep it short. I do believe that actually, it might come into that there will be a big crush, a big heavy one of the next catastrophic scenarios that already came over this world and will probably come again, because we're moving into it somehow. You know, we just have to be clear on how we're going to survive. So actually here is, I think, where all our work that we are doing, we might survive in this physical form, maybe not, but in a different way, in maybe then switching to, you know, to the next human body, or to the next body that will be presented for us to have a biological experience again on this planet.
You know what? Expansion comes with destruction, and we're definitely seeing, you know, we're talking 30 years. So will there be destructive parts in this? Absolutely. Will we survive it? As far as I'm concerned, we will. The one thing we, of course, need to consider in 30 years' time, our level of consciousness is going to be in a completely different expansion. So our mentality, our values, our ideas, our concepts are going to be so expanded that we can be very comfortable with the idea of having not just one Earth, but many different bubbles of realities. And every bubble of reality can look very different depending on what the people are going to create. So if I take it from you now and from everyone else, I can totally see destructive bubbles of reality. Death, I can also see the striving part, and I can see people being able to choose. And as they make their choices, these other worlds disappear, just like we cannot see the interdimensional frequencies now because our focus is not there. Our frequency is not high enough or low enough in order to see the elementals or things like that. And this will be focus, free will, frequency, harmony, vibration, all of that will be instrumental of what we're going to see at the end of the day. And this is why, you know, like we said in the beginning, Lana, you know, it's like, what are you choosing? What is your future self telling you? So there's infinite possibilities. I mean, if you hear what other people say, we're going to go, it's all going to be okay. I personally, when I hear things like that, I see myself in 2054. I see myself active in the galactic commerce market, trading, educating, just like what we've done now. I will no longer educate human beings, but we will have communities of human beings working with interdimensionals that have not had a body, that come in, that they not just look different, they haven't had a body for a very long time. And I'm not talking about extraterrestrials, because we need to start learning the difference. Extraterrestrials is very unlikely to have extraterrestrials on this earth, in this earth, because they don't have the codes to even come in. And we don't have to worry about extraterrestrials because we've got so many interdimensionals, including our own versions, that we need to deal with. There's so many souls that are going to have come out of the void space already, that are like currencies in the inner earth. We will be going into the inner earth and working with them and learning. We always look upwards, but we have everything on Terra, in Terra. There is huge schooling, education in the inner earth system, and lots of us will go down there and work with them and learn new technologies, new systems, and then bring it up here onto earth and work with the earthlings, with the humanoids, human 2 or 1 upgraded ones who are willing to actually do that. And then of course that interspecies, no borders anymore, you know, or less borders, definitely different kinds of borders. You know, so all our documentation is going to be different. You know, I mean, AB talks about the galactic citizenship 2054. He's not the only one. Lots of people say we're coming together as a galactic community. This whole universe has been created for that, so that we then can go out. And like Herminia says, she might not be here, but she might send just a version of herself into here, because she's on the celestial medium journey, like we all are, where we then know we have different versions of ourselves, different shards integrated, and we can just project our consciousness into a body, into a whatever we want to project it into, to just come here and help out if we want to. I can't see for 1 second. I've done this thousands, millions times that I've been here, and then all of a sudden I say, fuck it, I'm not coming back. Of course I'm going to come back. I want to see what it's like. But that doesn't mean that I can't be a galactic commerce trader at the same time, or work on different planets, or, you know, in the entire solar system, and actually do what this Earth was designed for, as a 7th galactic seed planet, right? So everything that we have learned here, that we've done amongst ourselves, we're going to do on a much bigger level.
Yeah. Well,
I think we can do this. One more thing, and I think we can do this within this lifetime, so that we then move on and transcend, like Herminia said, in a completely different way. We're no longer dying because we're moving on. We're already living here in 20, 30 years. We're gonna already live in a resurrection body here, where we fully fucking understand what it means to transcend, where we have had our life previews within this physicality before we even move on. And then that moving on is a conscious choice of saying, okay, guys, I'm out of here. I have enough of this body now. It is not working anymore. You know, why would I maintain it if I know I can do this and this and this and that? And that's something to really be excited about as far as I'm concerned. And now I'm shutting up. Next.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned about the body that I don't need it. I don't want to be. And I had the experience with Natalie, the one that was very in the beginning with Andrew. And when I find, because I love the combination between both of them, because it's the mentality that we have. And then when I find out that she passed, I was like feeling sorry about it. And I said, I was asking myself, why she had to go now? Why she had to die? And then suddenly I saw her in my dream, and I knew it was her because the way how she presented, and completely different galactic beings. And she looked at me. I said, why you had to die? And she said, because what I have to do here is more important than what I was doing there. And I said, oh my God, I put myself in that position. Sometimes we're trying to understand other people's path and say, why somebody do so when everybody is unique path, and everybody had unique journeys that they had to kind of accomplish, but because we are still having the attachment position, then we kind of just enjoy the moment or the experience with whatever we are experiencing with somebody in their journeys without trying to figure out what their journey is and how it should be. And for me, it was a big lesson because I was like, I was in this sorrow, sorry about that she left. When I was just starting learning about, in that moment, I was just starting learning about Andrew, maybe a couple months before. And when I find that she died, it kind of affected me. But for some reason, my connection with her in my high level, that I asked her, why you had to die, in this moment when I just learning about you. And she told me, because what I'm doing here is more important than what I was doing there. And the compliment being that she was presenting to me, how she presented to me, is like a blown mind. I said, well, I understood. Definitely. The change of her body was important in that moment, because whatever she was doing here, it was in another level now that was helping us more than she was helping here. That was my understanding in that moment.
Yeah. So I want to finish off with every one of us checking in with our 2054 future self and sending one message to all of us. What's the message of your 2054 future self to you yourself, and to all of us here? But make it for yourself, and we can either be inspired by it or not. It doesn't matter. So let's see if Alfredo can come in now without doing insectoid.
Alfredo?
No, sorry. Not today. We don't speak insectoid. Sorry, not today. Sorry, we can't hear you, babes. Next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But take it on anyway. Interpret it for yourself. We still can't hear you, babes.
Yeah.
Alfredo, unplug your headphone and talk straight into your telephone.
Yeah, maybe that will work. That's a good idea, Lon.
No, now he's freezing.
Mhm.
No, he's freezing. His future self is being a little trickster.
Mhm.
No,
I guess he didn't hear a lot.
So good.
Had to silent, yeah.
either tap in the chat, darling. Sorry about that. I have to.
Alfredo's got company today.
Yeah, we had another little trickster earlier this morning, so maybe today was trickster day.
Yeah, well, I will tell to my now, my
Yes.
future. I will tell to my now, keep going, don't get discouraged. Things are changing. Everything going to be wonderful, and be worthy to follow the journey.
Fantastic. Thank you.
My future self may say, cosmic dance it, sister. So look after yourself now, because this may be the body you will still be carrying. Let's say if so for 200 more years time, they say even up to 250 with the same flesh. That's why all the recalibration. So yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Karen. Yeah, I think Alfredo is saying he dropped his phone in the lake earlier. So yes. It's some fish trying to get a hold of us. We don't speak fish.
That's right.
Not yet, not yet. Not yet.
Okay, Sandrine, what is your future 2054? What is she
Be
telling
good.
you?
Be good.
Okay.
That's it.
Good, good. Lana?
I'd like to tell my future self to hang in there, that we're on the right trajectory, the right timeline for a beautiful future. So let's hang in there, and we will make it to the other end in a more beautiful world.
Cool. Thank you. Now let me read Marissa Pramananda Swarupa. Everything is an image of the ecstasy of the creator. Cool message. Now, let me just do mine. What is mine saying? Be ridiculous. Allow yourself to be outrageously ridiculous and enjoy this body as long as you have it. Make the most of it. Eat what you want. Dance, like Karen says, just be and allow to out-create yourself. If you want to get where you're saying you see yourself, you have to let go. Be okay with death. Be okay with loss. Be okay with letting go of any outcomes, detachments. Move on. Be selfish. Allow yourself to be selfish and learn the compassion for other people. Because, the old empathy is dying out. Know how to be compassionate, to perceive other people's pain without, and just enjoy that journey, because it's the most exciting times that you have chosen to be here.
Thank you.
On that note, thank
Awesome.
you very much. We will keep sharing. And once we no longer share, we will co-create together on a different level. But even if we're no longer talking, we will always be here in this form or another. All right, guys.
So be it.
Aho, see you next week. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
girls.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks
Bye,
so much for
Alfredo.
hanging in there. We got to learn fish, guys.